We're thrilled to have Carol Wills joining us from SimStar with our very own Michael Sims for a customer spotlight session on ERP migration.
Well, good morning, and thank you for the introduction. As she said, I am Carol Wills, and I'm the controller for SimStar Companies. I am an accountant by training. I have my CPA and CMA, but I'm not a program manager or a data scientist. I've been with SimStar for about 14 years now. When we started the company, I was the 15th person hired and the first female in an engineering company. Back in those days, we were super thrilled if we had $2 million in revenue, and we used QuickBooks for our accounting system. As she said, Michael is been working with me for a number of years. He's the practice director for data analytics at Columbus, where I know my company and how we function, what we need to do, and how to make things happen. Michael knows the technical nuts and bolts of how to make my dreams and ideas a reality, and most importantly, he knows the best way to accomplish it. So this is the story of our successful implementation of D365 from both the customer and partner perspective. So in 2013, as a company, we determined that AX was going to be the right solution for the future, and we started our implementation with a January 1, 2014 go live date. We made a number of significant mistakes along the way that culminated in us hiring Michael and his team to rescue us. As we look at those, the first thing was lowest price. As an individual, when you make a large dollar purchase, you generally are going to weigh the costs and the benefits of all your options. You're not generally going to buy the cheapest house or furniture or car on the market. You need something that's going to meet your needs, but you'd probably pay a little bit extra for some of those extra want things that you want because you're looking for the best value for your money. The military, on the other hand, tends to send out a technical specification and then gives the contract to the lowest bidder as long as they met the minimum requirements of that technical specification. We call this an LPTA award. It's the lowest price, technically acceptable, because nothing matters except meeting that minimum specification and having the lowest price. There's no consideration for extras. When we chose 2012, AX 2012 and our original implementation partner, we did the very thing that we hate as a company, and we chose the lowest price, technically acceptable solution. The lowest price is great, but only when it also meets all your needs. The next problem that we had was in scope. We started with a goal, and our goal was to upgrade to a more robust, all-in-one solution that would meet all the needs of our various departments. The problem is a goal is not a well-defined technical solution. We had no concrete technical solution or scope for our project. A big reason for that was that as a company, SimStar didn't really know what the system would do. So we tried to do entirely too many things at one time. The system will do anything you choose, but it will not necessarily do everything you choose because some choices are mutually exclusive. So you have to choose carefully. Because the system would do anything, we customized it. We customized timesheets to meet government requirements. We customized inventory just because we wanted it to work differently. I'm not exactly sure of the specific number of custom code pieces that we had, but I believe the number was over 50. At the end of the day, what we had was a great big mess. We had a system that did not work correctly. We were doing a dozen different things manually that should have been automated. As one example, it would take us a week every single month for accounting to calculate monthly revenue because the system didn't give us the correct figures. From our actual go live date, it took 8 months before we were able to produce the first set of financial statements. In just the accounting department alone, we spent from mid-May to early July working 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, trying to publish financial statements for the first quarter of the year. We were physically and mentally exhausted with absolutely no end in sight. Everybody was blaming someone else, and I very nearly quit my job over it. We went through this implementation, and in the middle, Microsoft announced a new version, R2CU7 for AX 2012. Our partner recommended that we shift our plan to the newer version because it was going to fill in several gaps that we would otherwise have had to implement custom solutions for. Given that those were our only two options, the shift was the correct choice, but it's still not something I would recommend. If we hadn't failed to set a solid technical solution at the beginning, we might have known we were trying to implement a solution that wasn't going to meet all of our needs. So making a shift in the middle of your implementation project really should be carefully considered. Even if it's the right choice, it's going to expand costs and delay your go live date. And lastly, the number one thing we did wrong as a company was that we tried to run an implementation by committee without any central leadership. We purposefully chose to do that because we felt the system was so large, we wanted every department to be responsible for their area of the system. Being the head person in charge of a department doesn't necessarily mean that they have the right skills to implement a new system. They're very different skill sets. When you have established processes in place, being the head of the team is not the same thing as looking at a new system, understanding how that system operates in relation to your established processes, and determining what makes sense for the future. One person can have both skill sets, but they may not. The other problem is that when everyone is in charge, no one is actually in charge. There was never oversight of the project. In the whole 18-month process, I never saw a schedule for the project. We had no defined tasks and no defined deadlines, so there was no way to make sure things were being done timely. We left all of those things to our partner to handle because we didn't have any internal leadership for the program. Why do we need to upgrade? You will likely need to have very good reasons to upgrade your system before your management will say yes. One easy way is the current system in the end stages of life? That's the single biggest reason to upgrade, because no one wants to be responsible for continuing to operate an unsupported system. When security patches are no longer being developed for your software, your organization is at risk for a data breach. The last data I have said that mainstream support for AX 2012 R3 is expected to continue through October of 2021. They're going to make the security hotfixes and non-security hotfixes through that period, but after that, they will stop supporting it. And the mainstream support for older versions has already ended. Other things to consider: does the newer system allow you to automate some tasks that you're presently doing manually? Does that make you more efficient? Maybe it will provide better data for decision making.